Welcome back and welcome to week 3. Can you believe we're halfway through already? It's been great. If you don't know me, I am Jen Lee with Gentastic Journey, and you are all along with me on this wonderful journey. And this starts week 3 of our 30-day carnivore challenge, which has us at the halfway mark. I've had a fantastic week. I hope you guys have as well. Again, if you're having any trouble, any concerns, put them in the comments below. I answer all my comments and questions. Today, I am thrilled to share with you 2 recipes, and I've got several challenges that I have for you for this upcoming week. By this point, you should start feeling much better. You should be kind of over the keto flu hump, hopefully. Some of you may not, but most of you probably are. You should also be starting to feel amazing, or at least starting to feel amazing. I have had several wins this week. One of them is a scale victory. I did lose another 3 pounds, and so that I'm very thankful for. So I'm down a total of 6 pounds. Keeping in mind that I've been carnivore for over a year, and then I was ketovore for probably the last 6 months or so. I had a struggle for about the 3 weeks before we started this challenge. I had bunches of people from out of town. I was a little off both carnivore and ketovore at that point in time, but I'm back on track now. I'm down 6 pounds, which I believe is mostly the excess fluid I was carrying around from eating not ketovore or carnivore. The other non-scale victories are, as I mentioned last week, no more knee pain, which is fantastic. I love when I wake up in the morning and I step out of bed and I'm not in pain. That is just awesome. The second thing is my hands. I have carpal tunnel, and that usually bothers me mostly in the evening. It radiates up my arms when I'm sleeping, and that has gone away this week as well. And then the big one is I have tennis elbow, and that stopped bothering me on the daily this week. Now, I was at the gym this week and I was lifting some weights. I did feel it while I was lifting weights, so I know that it's still an injury I have, but it is definitely better on my day-to-day. So as I mentioned, I have some challenges for you, and then we're gonna jump over and watch 2 fun recipes that I know you're gonna love to incorporate into your food this week. But before that, let's get into our challenges for this week. My first challenge is gonna sound a little crazy unless you've heard of this before, but that is just to go outside in the morning when you wake up. Hopefully the sun is up. If not, the sun's not up yet, maybe wait just a little bit. Go outside and get some sun in your eyes. That really helps with your circadian rhythm, and also it just helps set your alertness and your energy level. You're going to see a big change when you incorporate that in. While you're out there, put your bare feet on the grass. And hopefully there's a little bit of dew left on the grass. That's even better. But that grounds you. If you haven't heard of grounding before, do a search on it. There are so many positive things that come out of grounding yourself directly to the ground. So you don't want to do it on a deck or anything. You want to make sure you're on the actual ground, so dirt or grass or whatever's in nature by you. Just get yourself grounded. You'll see a big difference in your energy levels. You'll see a big difference in your alertness throughout the day. And also you'll see that you're sleeping better from it. So try that out this week. That's the easy one. My second one is going to take a little more effort, and that is to walk after each of your meals. Especially if you're having bigger meals, then make sure that you're walking after that. And I don't mean walking miles and miles and miles. Maybe walk around your block. 10 to 20 minutes is really all you need. That just gets your body digesting, also working to burn off some of that fat for our fuel, and also the fat that we have extra on our bodies. It's a great thing to incorporate into your daily life. If you can do it at least for one of your meals, if not for all 3 if you're eating 3 meals, or for 2 if you're having 2 meals a day. Try that out this week and see how that makes you feel. I almost can guarantee that you'll lose a little bit more weight when you start doing this, because it just kicks your body into like, hey, start using that fuel. So try it out. My husband and I are trying that out for this 3rd week as well. If you can't walk outside or you don't have a treadmill, or a treadmill that you have access to. You can also do just some walking in the house, just lifting up your legs, moving around, doing some pacing around, walk up and down the stairs if you have stairs in your home. Or they have these walking workout videos on Instagram and YouTube. You can find them all over. A lot of them are free. And do just a quick walking workout. That will also suffice if you can't walk outside. But walking outside in nature for me is just awesome. So I hope you get a chance to do that as well this week. My last one is fairly easy too. I've encouraged you to do this before, but that's mix up your proteins this week. I know you guys have been trying to make this easy, and so you've been just eating some of your favorite proteins, but make sure you're going to prioritize that red meat because that is the most nutrient dense of all the meats. But then have some chicken wings on the side, or have a turkey thigh as well, or have a small piece of salmon with your red meat, or have red meat in one meal and have some of these other things in a different meal, or try a different red meat that you haven't had before. Try lamb or veal or something along those lines. That will not only help your body to get different nutrients in, but it also prevents you from getting food boredom. I hope that most of you have watched my week 2 video, which is the start of week 2, and I put that out last Monday. That video, if you haven't seen it already, I'm going to link it up above. You can go and watch that after you've seen this video because it has a lot about food boredom because I don't want that to be you. Before we get to the 2 recipe videos, I'm going to ask you a favor, and that's please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'm a small channel and I really appreciate the subscribers, and I really try and put out great content for you, which will help you and then it will help the channel grow as well. And if you like this content, please give me a thumbs up, a like, and share this out to your friends so they can have continued great health along with us. All right, let's go into the kitchen and get to some of those recipes. Today, I'm excited to share with you my husband's meatball recipe, and his name is Mike, so we're calling this Mike's Meatballs. And we eat this throughout the week. It's one of those things that I showed you from the last video, Carnivore Week 2, where I showed you my refrigerator and the meatballs were in there. So these he makes about once every 3 or 4 days, and then we just keep them in the refrigerator. He will bring some to lunch. We will sometimes have these for dinner, or you can chop them up and mix them in with other things. These are great to go with your eggs, and it's completely carnivore. So let's get to seeing how he made them.
Here are the ingredients all laid out for you, and I will include the recipe in the description box below as well. We have some eggs, we've got pork rinds, and then we've got 3 pounds of beef. We need 1 egg per each pound of beef, and this is just 100% pure ground beef. We also have 1/3 of a cup of pork rinds for each pound, and then the same with the cheese. You can use any cheese that you like, and we want 1/3 of a cup of cheese for each pound as well. All right, so my husband here is moving the pork rinds into a small food processor or chopper, whatever you'd like to call it, and he is going to chop them very finely, and this replaces the breadcrumbs that you would normally find in meatballs. And so you'll see once he gets this all ground down that is why it's just 1/3 of a cup. Once you get it all ground down, it's a very small amount, and you really don't taste the pork rinds in the meatballs, but it does give it a moistness, and it does allow it to kind of stick together when you incorporate that in with the eggs as well, so then the meatballs don't fall apart. All right, now we're going to throw those pork rinds into a large measuring cup, and we will mix that in with the eggs and the cheese. We've got some runaway eggs that we'll put them aside to help them behave, and then we're going to cut this ground beef and put it into a large mixing bowl. We get these 3 packs from Costco here in the United States, and it works out perfectly for us because it makes a large amount of meatballs for us. Okay, so we've got our ground beef in our mixing bowl, and next is to incorporate the other ingredients into it. So in goes our pork rinds, our cheese, and then we're going to crack the eggs. And then the gloves allow him to mash this up really nicely. The meat's pretty cold, so it's a lot easier to do this with gloves on, and it also saves a little bit on the cleanup of your hands, but always important. We always wash everything down with disinfectant after we work with raw meat. So he's just incorporating all that in really well. Now we're going to take a muffin scoop or ice cream scoop, whatever you want to call one of those, and we're going to make them into meatball looking portions. And this allows us to just keep them all similar sizes so they cook evenly. And he lays these out on a pan, but we are going to put these into our air fryer. So he just likes to make extra dishes. I make fun of him for that. But he cooks and then cleans it up typically, so I have no complaints. I love these meatballs and I'm fine with him using as many dishes as he wants to make this meal because these are delightful. When I make these, I make them a little bit more circular with my fingers. He doesn't care so much about the presentation, I guess, so he doesn't always make them perfectly round, but he will use the tongs when he's flipping them over. He will make them a little bit more looking like a meatball. Next, we're going to put these into a preheated air fryer. And for us, our air fryer is a multi-purpose cooker. And for those of you that are interested in it, I will put the details below. I actually got this on like QVC or something. Somebody sent me a link and I bought it off of there. I don't usually shop on QVC, but it was a fantastic deal. So this is a Ninja. It air crisps, it roasts, it grills, and it also bakes and dehydrates. So this is the same thing I used for our meat crisps that I gave you the recipe for in the previous video. So we're going to cook these at 350 degrees on air crisp, which is air fryer, for 8 minutes. But then we're going to move these into the air fryer and cook them for 8 minutes. And this is what they look like when they come out. We love them and we store them in a glass container and eat them throughout the week. I hope you enjoyed this video.
We're going to make an amazing recipe and it can just add a little spice. I don't make this recipe all the time, but when I need something like a sandwich, it is perfect, or a little bit of toast in the morning. This is a carnivore recipe. It was started by Maria Emmerich, and her husband, Craig, is carnivore. And so she started making some great carnivore recipes, although she's primarily a keto specialist. This recipe has been changed a million times by different people. This is one that I feel is the best consistency. It's fairly easy, and it does keep us carnivore. So again, treat yourself once in a while. Try this recipe out. Let me know what you think. Let's start by looking at some of the ingredients that we need. And we'll start with the biggest one, which is our eggs. We need 5 eggs at room temperature. So leave them out for several hours and let them get to room temperature. We're going to be separating those eggs here in just a minute. Next, we need unflavored gelatin. We're going to need 12 grams of that. So I measured that on this food scale and I put it here in this little container. So this is our gelatin. The next thing we need is egg white protein. This is a brand that I'm almost out of, but this works perfectly fine. It's egg white protein powder, and this will work for this recipe. This needed 15 grams, and I measured 15 grams out into this little container. We also needed whey protein powder. Because I am sensitive to milk products, I can do a little bit of whey, but not a lot of whey, so I don't keep a lot of whey in the house. And I only have vanilla. It calls for unflavored whey protein powder. So if you have unflavored, even better. I have vanilla, so this will be a little bit sweeter, but I think I'm okay with a little bit sweeter bread. The next thing we need is a 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum. Xanthan gum is not necessarily a household item. If you don't have it, there are other versions of this egg white bread that does not call for xanthan gum. It's not very expensive, and you can find it in stores or on Amazon. You also need a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. This is that, and so we'll need a 1/4 of a teaspoon of that as well. And then we also need a 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And this is Redmond's real salt. We also need to preheat our oven to 320 degrees. So I have that working right now, and it is getting close. So we can, while that's happening, we are going to separate our eggs. We're gonna separate our eggs into a large bowl because we're gonna have to whip those egg whites. And then we're gonna put the yolks into this smaller bowl. So I will get working on that. It's important that you do not get any yolks in with the whites or they will not whip up fluffy like we need them. So I took out my standing mixer to help me out with this process, and it is getting very close to being done. I'm gonna let that go a little bit longer. Okay, I think that's pretty good. And then we are gonna slowly add in our egg yolks. And then this is all the rest of the powders, which is the whey powder, the egg white protein powder, which you can see here, the xanthan gum, and then the cream of tartar and the salt were already in the egg white mixture. So let's start to combine those. Okay, and then I have a big spatula and we're gonna fold these eggs in. But first I'm going to mix these eggs up really good so that they are nice and creamy. I'm first going to put in this mixture and I'm going to allow that to mix a little bit. I'm going to put this on low and just mix this. Last but not least, we're going to put in the egg yolks. We're just going to fold these in. We're just going to combine, fold over. These egg whites don't like the fat. And that usually makes them fall. We're going to just be real gentle. Keep combining until we see no more white streaks. If you occasionally need like a slice of bread with butter, or you just feel like a sandwich of some sort, you can put some sliced beef on here. You could put sliced ham on here. Just be careful of the overly processed sliced ham you get at the deli that often has sugar in it and other ingredients. But if you make a ham and slice it, that's usually not too bad if you can get one that has no sugar in it. All right, so this looks good. I'm going to then put this into our silicone bread pan. There's differing opinions on whether or not you should grease this. I do not ever have a problem getting it out, so I'm going to assume that it's fine just to not. But if you feel more comfortable, just keep in mind that that's more fat, and these egg whites again don't love the fat, so the fluffier you can keep those egg whites, the better off you'll be. Let me know in the comments if you grease your pan or if you don't, and maybe it's different if you don't have silicone. If you don't have silicone, it might be harder to get it out, but this is the best way. I've tried it in both metal and this pan, and this is way better. We'll pour this in. Okay, so this ended. We'll turn our timer off. And then we're going to turn the oven off. Again, we don't even want to peek, and we'll wait 25 to 30 minutes and then check back in. Okay, so we're going to leave it here to cool off, and then we'll slice it in a few minutes.
And here it is all sliced up and ready to go. It's not the highest rising, but it still tastes amazing. Thanks for joining me today.